Hello, everyone. Let's give others a minute to join and we will get started. Let me start the recording. Hello, everyone. Hope you are doing well, guys. And today we have a last lesson. This lesson is just to discuss our progress, check your homework, discuss the job market right now, discuss the resume creation and interview tips. Before we start, let me share the screen and show you how we do with the homework. Are you able to see my screen, guys?
Yes.
Good. So, as you can see, a lot of people, about 16 people already completed the homework, which is absolutely amazing. Previously, it was like maybe 5 people maximum. This time, it's 16 people who completed the homeworks fully. And we still have few people that are not completed, like 1 or 2 homeworks. You still have time till March 18th to complete the homework, but these people who already completed the homework, they already get the discount for the first month on the main course, minus $400. I will send you a link in personal messages, special link that you can use to buy a main course. Okay, so that's the main announcement for today. And other people, you still have time till March 18th. That will be the last day that you can submit your homework. If you didn't submit the homework by that time, you are not getting that huge discount. Also, I've discussed that with other teachers, and we have decided even if people haven't completed all the homeworks, because there are some reasons that people may not be able to complete the homeworks, but some people still will complete at least 1 or 2 homeworks, will give another discount. It will be less than these people, but just to maybe motivate you additionally, we will give you a different discount, maybe minus $200 or something like that for the first month, even if you completed 1 or 2. So just to motivate you. But if you would like to get the big discount, then please complete the homework by March 18th. Okay, so that's the main announcement. Vlad, I see you have a question. Go ahead.
Yes, I have a question about my homework. So I did it and I got a reply. Yeah, I kind of messed up a little bit with the second function, but I completed the first one correctly. I don't see that you marked it as complete, but there's a check mark in the thread on Slack.
Yeah. So actually, yeah, the only thing that you have, let me just check quickly. Let me open
and I kind of fixed it, I can resubmit it, but I believe the one that was supposed to be completed just to get the credit was the first function, right? The second was like kind of optional, and I kind of made a little mistake on the second one.
Yeah, that's why I marked your homework as passed. Let me just open the thread. Hey, where's the thread? Let me open the thread and then share my screen so everybody can see. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Hey, where's that mosquito? That mosquito escaped from me. Maybe it's sitting on me already. Somewhere. Okay, so let me see. Vlad.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, so the only thing here, you are using console log over here to print my status, right? So my status should not just print, because what your function does right now, takes the index, then checks if index is less than 25, then print something to the console, but it doesn't return anything. So if what you're getting in this variable is undefined, because the function returns undefined, because you are not returning anything here.
So yeah, I realized it. Yeah, it was kind of late when I was completing, and then just yeah.
So the only thing that you have here is like you need to replace console log, remove it, and just do same as you did here. Return.
Do you want, well, I already did it. Do you want me to resubmit it or?
No, you're fine. Yeah, that's not a big deal, especially considering the fact that was if that it was a like additional task, right? It was optional, so it's absolutely fine. Okay, and I see Yellow says having fun. Okay, good. So that is good. So good job, guys. It's really amazing. 16 people just completed the homework. It means a lot, and it shows me that you're very motivated. Okay, so let me then stop sharing, and then before we start, does anyone have any questions about the previous homeworks, about anything? You can ask anything today, any question that you want me to ask.
I have a general kind of question. I think you will cover a lot of it, but I think I just wanted to hear something. So if let's say if my long-term goal is to take all the courses to get the certificate in automated, testing, automatization, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and you say that some of the homework on the course, I believe even for manual QA, I will be to do the resume and apply for a job. And so my kind of question is, well, I guess it may help just maybe to submit your resume, apply for jobs, and maybe have a couple of like interviews so you can have an idea what it is. But my question is, if my long-term goal is to do the automation QA, is it should I get like, let's say I get an offer in manual QA, should I get it and just continue taking classes, or if I just don't want to do this, it's worse to just continue taking courses and just apply for a job you want. See what I'm saying, kind of?
Yeah. So that's a very good question, and that's exactly what we do. So no matter what, if you're taking the automation course or not, when you take a manual course, because manual course is mandatory for automation, because you cannot just know JavaScript and to be a automation tester. You have to know the manual testing as well in order to be able to, define the test cases, to define them, and to cover the functionality properly. You have to be a tester, first of all. Tester that knows JavaScript or any other language and able to do the automation testing. So this is how it works. So yes, the manual course is mandatory. So when you take the manual course and you take coding basics in parallel, you have lessons, at least 2 lessons to create resume. And there will be a lot of more lessons to cover the resume interview tips, because what we do first, we have general lesson to explain you how to behave during the interview, and then we do a lot of mock interviews with everybody. So there are a lot of more lessons for the interview, and then you go to the market. So one of the homeworks for you will be to go to the market and start applying for the job. And answering your question, if you get, even if you don't get manual job and you are not interested in getting manual job, you still go to the market and start applying for the jobs and go to the interviews. The reason is very simple, because it will be beneficial for you. You will get used to the interview process, right? And we will fix the gaps that you will have before you start looking for automation job. So going and applying for jobs and going to the interviews is beneficial for you anyways. So yes, you will be going. If you get a job, if you get an offer, yes, I would recommend you to accept it. Why? Because you will go and start making money, right? You start making money, you start working, maybe they will need to implement automation on their project, and you will be able to switch to automation in a few months. Or you will just leave. You will just leave and then look for automation job. You don't have to even leave. You will continue working, but looking for automation job. And once you get the offer for automation, you will just leave. And you don't have to be like, oh, I'm so sorry for the company, so I just worked here for 4 months. Believe me, once more experience you get, more different situation you will see. Like people hired, and then company doesn't need this person anymore. They will just remove that person from the project. They will fire that person with no questions. So if the company does that for you many times, company doesn't care about you. If there is no if there is no reason to keep you in the project, company will fire you. This is how it works, and nobody will tell you, hey, we are so sorry, we will just be paying you money no matter what. Company doesn't have a project. For example, company lost a customer, so they don't have a project anymore. They will fire all the people on that project, and nobody will be thinking about you. So you don't have to think about the company as well. You go to the company, they offer you the job, you work for them. Once you have a better opportunity, it's normal just to leave and take that opportunity. I know cases when people were working for the company for a month, for even 2 weeks. I remember in my case, I got a better offer. I had the first day in the company. I had to start working today at 9 o'clock, and at 8 o'clock, 1 hour before I start, I just called them and said, hey, I'm sorry, I got a better offer. I'm sorry, guys. And that's not a problem. That's how it works. And especially if you, for example, you are working as an automation engineer and another company gives you an offer as an automation engineer, they give you more money, they give you better opportunities maybe, and so on. And you go to that company. If your company cannot give you more, or at least the same thing, the same opportunities, the same money, you just leave. Because it's not about company. The company shows how they love you, how they like you, how they want you to be on the project by matching you the salary that other company can give you, or giving you the same opportunities or even better opportunities, like opportunities to grow, opportunities to become a lead or a manager, or just to grow as a professional, as an engineer. So you don't have to think about a company, because if something happens, company will never think about you. They will just fire you today. And I have many friends who were working as, especially if you work as a contractor, right? You join some company as a contractor, even if you have 1 year contract, and then something happens. You will be fired not in 2 weeks. You will be fired today. Like, we don't need you anymore, just leave, and that's it. And even if you get another offer and you can leave today, you can say, hey, I'm leaving today. There is no law that requires you to stay for 2 weeks. So when people are staying like for 2 weeks to do the knowledge transfer, like, to finish the tasks they are working on, it's just your will. It's not about like law or something like that. You don't have to do that, and company will never think about you. So what do you need to do? Just take an offer, start working there. Whenever you get another offer, better offer, you just leave. You just, as a kind person, you can say, hey, I leave in two weeks, right? And you can finish your tasks, do the knowledge transfer to other people, and then just leave. This is how it works, and this is how you get the best opportunities, how you get the best offers. Yes, Dmitry, question.
Yeah, so you mentioned that contractor work, right? It's a 1099, you mean?
Yeah.
So what's the, do you know the statistic, how many jobs are there for W-2 and how many jobs are there for 1099? Is there like a statistic for that?
No, I'm not sure if there is a statistic, but it doesn't really matter, especially for the first job. For the second job and later, you just decide. It's up to you. Some people like contract jobs because they are single, they don't need any benefits, they just, hey, I need a lot of money, right? So you just take contract job. Or if you care about like that because you have a family, you would like to get benefits, you would like to get medicine, different other insurances like life insurance and etc. So like 401k, then you try to find W-2 jobs. There is no statistics, but as the first job, you will take anything that you will get. So you just get that first job and start making money, and then continue looking. If you don't like that job, you just take that offer anyways, because that's the offer, that's the money, and that's the experience in IT. So anyways, you get that job and start working. And if you don't like the job, you just continue looking for another job. And if you get an offer in 2 weeks, you just leave. If you get an offer in a month, you leave, and so on. So this is how it works. So actually, you get any opportunity first, and then it's up to you. You decide afterwards, because it's easier to look for the job later. For example, you work for the company, and you work there for a year, for example, right? And you are bored because nothing is interested. You ask your manager here, hey, is there an opportunity to grow? Manager says, oh, I will see. Like, you don't have exact answer, right? So you start looking for a job. It's easier because you already have a job, you get experience, you get new skills, and you just look for another job, and you get an offer, and you just leave in 2 weeks, and you don't have that period when you don't have a job and you don't make money. You always get a job. So you work for additional 2 weeks for that company, left, and just started another company. Some people say, hey, I can join you in a month. And for the current company, they say, I will work here for 2 more weeks. So they work for 2 more weeks, doing a knowledge transfer, and then take 2 weeks off just to relax before the new job, and then start the new job. Because usually when you start a new job, you have some period that you cannot take vacations for, right? So usually that's why people like give another 2 weeks for themselves to relax. This is how it works. But again, answering your question, there is no statistics, and you take anything that you get, no matter what. You get 1099 contract position, you take that. You get W2, you take that and take that opportunity and use it. And then you can continue looking for a job. Yes, Vyacheslav.
Thank you.
Artur, I have a question about your speech. You say that the company can able to expect, not expect, waiting when you start to work. I mean,
yeah,
2 weeks I should be finished my existing work, and then 2 weeks some vacation and so on. It means that company ready to waiting me 1 month is as for me it's look like if you get a good experience and you get the good skills, the company gonna be doing that. But if you entry level, how does it work for people who just starting the career pathway?
Yeah, so actually, the two answers here. First of all, you never look for a job as a beginner. So your resume, even after the courses, will look like you have at least 3 years of experience for manual tester and 5 years of experience for automation tester. This is how the market works. And this is actually very low numbers, because there are some people just coming from other countries with their husbands, with their wives. And for example, if spouse get an H-1B visa, you as a spouse of that person get H-2B visa, I believe. And those people usually without any tech experience. So what they do, they just put, spouses tell them, hey, you can do and work as a tester, as a manual tester. It's super easy. Just put 15 years of experience, like in India or in Russia or in Ukraine, right? Like put those 15 years of experience, just go and look for a job. And people without any experience, with zero experience, go and look for a job as like people with 15 years of experience. And sometimes they get a job. I used to work with such people. When you say, hey, somebody hired them. And I remember when I was a lead at Apple, my manager came to me and said, hey, we just hired this girl and she's like super cool tester. And I said, okay, let's give you something easy. So take the documentation and just write test cases. And she's like, what is a test case? I'm like, okay, understood. So that's how it works. And unfortunately, even people after schools, even people with zero experience have to put some experience there, because nobody will call you to the interview. And you put and people who are interviewing, there was actually one questionnaire in the internet, I believe Glassdoor, or I don't remember who did that, but they were like asking hiring managers if they know that people like lie in their resumes, and 70% answered yes, and 75% answered that they don't care, right? So everybody knows that you lie in your resume, because resume is your advertisement. It's like you open your own business, like, I don't know, maybe you open your restaurant or something like that. You will print posters, right, and give to people. Maybe you will buy some billboard. You will never say, hey, regular restaurant, or like we are just beginners and our cook is like, I don't know, just starts like after the university. No, you never say that. You say the best restaurant in the city. Resume is the same. Resume is not your curriculum vitae. So resume and curriculum vitae are totally different things. That's the biggest mistake that you do if you think that this is the same. Resume is just your advertisement. It's how you advertise yourself. Hey, I'm the best. In your resume, you should be the best, like the best of the best. And then people call you to the interview. And interview, so the only purpose that resume has is just to bring you to the interview. That's it. So then if you go to the interview, absolutely different skills. You have to prove your knowledge. So you actually, what you do, you actually, when you create the resume, you praise yourself, you add some experience. What we usually do, we take the previous experience that our students have. For example, one of my friends that currently taking the course, he's installing the security systems. And I just asked him a few questions. Hey, do you test them when you like install them to make sure that they work? He said, yes. Oh, do you have any documentation that you work with to understand, for example, you got a new system that you never worked with. Do you have any documentation? Yes, I do. Like, and then I say, okay, you're already doing a lot of testing, so we can just rewrite your experience like the testing, not installation, but testing, right? And we just rewrite his experience in a real company. But what we say in resume, we say not installer, but software tester or hardware tester, right? And say worked with documentation, same like we do as a manual tester, working with documentation, then test cases, then test execution, reporting problems, and so on and so on. So we just rewrite his previous experience as a testing experience. So he has actually, he worked for 4 years in that security company. Right, so he actually has a year of experience, 4 years of experience, real experience in that company, and they will be able to provide like some feedbacks and confirm that he worked there. But in resume, not in background check, but in resume, we say that he was working as a tester there, and then he adds like 6 months or a year of courses, and then he has like 5 years of experience. That's it, very simple. So that's what we usually do. Even if people work with computers, like there are people working in travel agencies, right? We say, hey, have you worked with computer? Yes, I worked. Okay, did you have any software that you used to do your job? Yes, I did. The software was called like this. Okay, nice. When it was installed firstly, did you work with any documentation, like, or ask questions from other people who knew how it works? Yes, of course. So we again, any profession, especially if you work with computers, can be redone into test automation experience. So that's what we do. So we take your real company, usually, rewrite it in testing experience, and then using just the same words that used for testing, like working with documentation, test cases, defect, or bug reporting or problems reporting, working with development team or support team, and so on. So we just use like you had some manual testing experience, right? And this is what we usually do. And then add your course experience as well, because you will be working on the project, and we add that as well. So you, at the end, for manual testing, you have at least 3 years of experience. For automation testing, you have at least 5 years of experience. And your goal is just to, during the course, work on the project, do the few cycles, not one cycle that we did on the this free course, but do few cycles, and to understand like that routine that you have in those cycles, from documentation to test case creation to execution, then to bug report verification, then do regression testing, participating in retrospective meetings, in grooming meetings, and so on, right? So all of that routine, your goal is just during that education time, just to understand how the company works, and like you work at the same process for the past like 5 years. So you can say, so those 6 months of education for automation testing, for example, you describe like those were like your 5 years of experience, like you started and you were working in these cycles for 5 last years, something like that. So this is what we usually do. And this is how you get a job. So you, first of all, you never look for a job as a beginner. And secondly, it's normal. Company always know that in order to finish your job, usually you need like 2 or 3 weeks, right? To start. So you never start like tomorrow. Even if you start tomorrow, that even looks suspicious, because either you don't have a job right now and you're able to start right away, or you don't care about your current company. So maybe you won't care about their company as well in the future. So that even looks suspicious. But you as a kind person, usually you will get that time for your current company to wrap up everything, to do knowledge transfer, and to finish your tasks. So 2-3 weeks is a normal time for you to wrap up and start a new job. And of course, if you need some time to relax, a month is fine. Of course, you can say, I will leave in a week at this company, or a week and a half, and take week and a half of vacation, and then you will start in 3 weeks. Maybe it will be better than 4 weeks. But anyways, companies know that you need some time to wrap up, especially if you are like very important person on the project and there is nobody to like replace you. So actually they need to hire somebody, and you need to do the knowledge transfer. So maybe it will take a month to do that. So that can happen. So month is a fine. And especially if you are a person that they need, they will wait. It's not a big deal. Month will run very fast. This is one thing. Plus, I need to tell you that right now, after the COVID, there is more job than people on the market. So right now, companies are striving to hire people. So there is no professionals in the market. So yes, there are people looking for a job, but most of them just applying for the jobs, and they are not fitting the position. So actually, if you just learn everything, just what we just did on the free course, if you continue doing the same, coming to lessons, asking questions, and completing the homework, you will be professional for sure. We have problems with people not completing the homeworks. That's the biggest problem. We don't have problems with people who complete all the homeworks, because people completing all the homeworks will always find a job. Always, like 100%, not 99, 100% of people who complete the homework find a job. So for you, it's very easy. It's just follow that guide and you will find a job for sure. And because you will become a professional. That's it. If you complete all the homeworks in our course, you will be more than I knew like a year back, because what we do constantly, we add new technologies. For example, I just did something on my job. I just take the code and transfer it to our repo as well. So we get that knowledge and we show that to the students. So I didn't know that a year ago. I just explored. For example, today I was working on Slack API. For example, automation test passes or fails. And then we send not only email, but we send automation like bot a message to chat. I selected my Slack channel, right? So this is what I explored today. And this is what we're going to move to our automation course as well. So I didn't know that yesterday, but you will know that, and you will graduate with that knowledge. When I was looking for my job at Apple, for example, like 4 years ago, I didn't know a lot. But I found the job as a lead. I was a lead at Apple, right? So the knowledge that you will get will be much, much more than I knew a few years ago. You will know more than I. So that's what you need to know. So you don't have to think that you won't be a professional. You will be even better professional than I was a few years ago. And you will have some knowledge that I didn't know yesterday, because I will add that to the course as well. So this is how it works. We constantly add something new. For example, initially we just started with WebDriver IO only. And the current course that we have right now, it was the first course that it took for 3 months. Before it was 2 months, but we were adding more and more stuff, and we just realized that we don't have time to add everything. So we just add another month for the level of courses, and we started adding more features. For example, we were working with WebDriver IO only as an automation framework, but right now we teach you WebDriver IO and Cypress as well. So you have even more knowledge. And I learned Cypress maybe like 6 months ago myself, right? But you will have this knowledge right away. So when I started at Apple, I didn't know Cypress. When I started as a manager at Loom, I didn't know Cypress. When I started as a QA lead at my current company, I didn't know Cypress. I learned Cypress 6 months ago, and now you will get that knowledge right away. So what you need to understand, the only thing that you need to understand, that you will have better knowledge, you will be better professional than I was like a year ago. So that's what you need to understand. And the only task that you have is just come to the lessons, ask questions until you get full understanding, and then complete your homework. And that's it. That's the only thing that you need to do. And you don't have to worry about anything, because you will have resume, you will have understanding how to get to the interviews, and you will go to the interviews, and maybe you will have some failures, but you will continue going and doing homeworks. After the interviews, you have to do the homework as well. You go to the interview and they ask you some questions that you never heard previously.
Artur,
You just
how long it takes time to find the first job after your courses? I mean, some statistics, you're a graduate student.
It's different. It really depends on your language. It depends on how motivated you are and so on. Some students find the job during the course. So if you, for example, see announcement chat, you can see that some people find jobs during the course. So those people are still taking the course and they already found the job. So there are some people that find the job during the course. I have a person who came from Ukraine 2 weeks before we started the course. So he joined the course just like after 2 weeks that he came to the United States. He had bad English, and at that time the course was in Russian, so it was fine for him. But for him, it was very, very hard to find a job because his English was bad. But he was looking, so he found his first job in 10 months after the course. 10 months. But his first job was for senior engineer and 120K. And he graduated course like 2 years ago. Right now, he already bought a house and has a Tesla. 2 years back, he came to the United States. Right now, he drives Tesla and just bought a house in Roswell, California, like maybe like 500, 600K, or maybe even 700K because prices raised in past 2 years, but probably 700K. So this is how people life changes if you're really motivated. But yes, for him, his English was the main problem, and he was looking for a job for 10 months. There was another case. So we really has like maybe 3 cases that people were looking job for very long. So this guy, there was another person. She was like she was the older lady, maybe like 50 something years, and she was looking for a job maybe also for 8 or 10 months. But also she found a job as a manual tester remotely in Los Angeles, and the salary for manual testing was 100K for her in her case. So that was also one of the. So I don't know how that happens, but usually people who look for the job longer, they get better, higher salary later. Okay, thank you. I will be here. Thank you. Yeah. So also. One more case, that was my student from the previous school. He actually was my employer a long time ago when I came to the United States. I worked for him on siding. We were installing siding, and I worked for him. And I had experience already in IT. I was working as a tester already when I came to the United States. So I told him, hey, I'm going just to get my work permit and just go and look for a job. And he was like, oh, I heard many stories that's not true, like many people don't find jobs. I say, hey man, you have my word, I found the job. I have many people around me who found the job, and I will go and find it. That's not a problem. There were other people who were telling me the same, hey, you will not find a job, the market is different. That was like 10 years ago. The person who worked as a manual tester, but he then left. He just went back for like 7 years to his homeland. Then he came back to the United States again and just, I don't know, gave up. So he was telling me as well that I won't find a job. So I found the job. Then I started doing the courses, and that person came to me like, hey, I finally decided to come. That person I was working for came, and he was very smart guy. So actually he studied automation, and he couldn't find the job. And I was like, hey, come on, what's happening? People are calling me, I'm giving references, like the best references for you. What's happening? And he was telling me, I don't want to just a regular job. I want the lead job. So he was actually looking as well, like 8 or 10 months, but he finally got the lead job. So he was just declining all the other jobs that he was getting, just looking for the lead job. And he finally found the lead automation engineer job in Bay Area, like in 10 months. So that happens sometimes. It really depends on many factors. Sometimes you're looking for a lead job. Sometimes you are just not motivated. Sometimes you are just, I don't know, didn't have good English. So it really depends. But if you don't give up, you will find a job, because that group that was my first group that was there, everybody found the job. The group after them, everybody found the job. So it takes time sometimes. Sometimes there is a group, everybody found the job, one person is still looking. And then finally that person finds a job in a few months and like, okay, we closed the group as well. Like, so if you look for the job, you will find the job for sure. But again, if you come to lessons, if you ask questions and complete the homeworks, you probably will find the job even during the course. That the chances will be very, very high, because usually the people who look for the job longer, those are the people who didn't complete the homeworks or missed some lessons and they have to watch. And if you watch the video and you get problem, there is nobody to ask and solve, right? You have to actually work with the teacher. That's why those 3 steps are very important. And that's it. Okay, very long answer.
Can I ask you a quick question? So speaking of references, like if I do have a job right now and I've been working, I mean, I've been employed with that employer for since 2015, basically. And it's not, well, I work with computers and some software, but it's not really related to like, you know, testing or like, you know, development, you know, kind of web development. So do usually people who interview you, do they call your like current supervisor to check references? I mean, because if they call like my current supervisor, she's not going to, well, she doesn't know anything about it, and she's not going to confirm what I could, whatever, however I rewrite my resume, you know.
So actually how it works, so nobody will call your so, you know, you need to understand, you are, for example, looking for a job, your company doesn't know about that. So everybody know that you will never give your current manager as a reference, because what happens, they will call and ask your manager, hey, you know that Vlad is looking for a job, do you know that? Yeah, could you provide a reference? Like, nobody does that, right?
Well,
so usually what happens,
it happened to me multiple times. People do this, and I mean, I had no problem to give my current supervisor phone number, and people did call, and my supervisor would give the
no,
like good reference,
like,
you know.
will you give your supervisor's phone number if you still look for the company? You didn't get any offer. You didn't get any offer. You didn't leave the company yet, and you didn't have any offer. They just interviewing you. Will you give your current manager to let them know that you're actively looking and wanting to leave?
No, not really, but some applications have this, you know, there's like a field like on the job application to like your former or your current supervisor. Yes, some of them ask for it. I mean, that's what I've seen. I don't know, maybe it's a little different in IT field, but my current experience is, yes, it's usually part of the job application.
No. So how it works, usually references, so you give the references what you want, actually. Usually either you give some your supervisors that already left your company. For example, you had a supervisor in the past who left, or other colleague. So for the references, it's not always supervisor. So how it works, actually, so there are 2 different parts. One part is when you are being interviewed, and the second part when you get an offer. So when you're being interviewed, sometimes recruiters or hiring managers, they ask for references, but they call them as a last step. For example, if they already interviewed you And then the last step is just to, I know, call and ask people about you, right? The last step before you get a job, before you get an offer. So that's the case. So what we usually do, so we provide references for our students who graduated the course as well, of course. But again, you have to complete the homework, because if you will be just the student that won't be completing the homework, we won't be providing references. For everybody who's successfully completing all the homeworks, and we know that this is the good person, and we provide the references, the best references you can ever get. Yes, so we provide the references, and from the past, if you don't want to provide any references, you know, people even ask their friends to provide reference. Hey, of course, I work with Vlad. We worked together at, I don't know, ADT, and he was like an amazing person, and I was his colleague, or I was his lead, or whatever. You know, so yeah, so you provide the references. References is something easy. You can ask friends just to provide the reference. You can ask your teachers to provide references. We usually provide one, two references. If they require two, we usually say, hey, can you ask if two will work? Or if they still need three, then ask your friend to provide the third one. And that's what you do during the interview process. Because during the interview process, like, it's not formal process. It's just like they want some people just mutually confirm that you are a good person and take that responsibility, right? That you're a good person.
Yeah.
So
I get it. I had this experience when they actually called my like current supervisor. Of course, it was the last step. I get it, but they did call my supervisor, my immediate supervisor right now, to check like I mean, yeah, I mean, I usually had like good relationships with my supervisors. They would give me like a good reference anyway. I mean, there's no problem, but yeah, kind of my only kind of confusion was like, if they call my current supervisor, she's not, well, she has nothing to do with it. She doesn't know anything about IT field, and it would be like, what are you asking about, you know?
No, they usually ask, you know, they usually ask some. So first of all, if you're looking for IT references, you don't give your current supervisor as a reference, because it doesn't make sense. So those, if you're in resume, if this is during the interview process, you'd give your references who can confirm your IT experience. This is us. Or for example, if they need additional references, they need like 3 references, you ask your friends, or you ask other students from your group, hey, can you be like my lead? So the story will be, hey, we work together at this company, and this is what we did. Yeah, and usually when somebody's calling me, I have like, okay, this person was a manual tester at this company. And then like, yeah, that person was creating test cases, working with documentation, bug reporting, then bug verification, nothing special, like a manual tester. And what was like the best side? And I said, usually responsibility, right? So that's very easy to do the reference. So that's during the interview process. Once you get an offer and you feel the background check, in background check, you don't lie. You just provide your current work, even if that doesn't match your resume, because the background check is for the different purpose. So nobody like sees your background check. For example, HR doesn't know if you were interviewed and hired because of your specific skills, right? So HR person may see the background check, it comes, and then it just passed because you don't have any criminal, you don't have anything specific in your background check. So in background check, once you got the offer, you provide the true story. Like when I was looking for a job, and I had some time when I came to the United States, that I was working like for 8 months, I believe. I was working on siding and on floor installation, right? So I truly answered that in background check. But in my resume, of course, there was no tile installation or something like that. There was like IT job. And during the interview, I was saying about IT job. But when you fill the background check, you just fill the true information. They just check that information. Hey, everything passes, everything matched, and that's it. You passed because you proved your skills during the interview. Because either they will give you some tasks during the interview to solve, or they will give you some task to complete at home. Like, hey, can you create a test automation framework and cover this page, right? And you will do that. And you will just send them the code and they will run it and see how it works. So if you're able to do that, nobody cares if you were driving Uber for like 5 years, or you were doing something else, because you can do the job. And this is the main problem. People are looking for employees to fill the gap. They have a gap. For example, they need person to build the automation from scratch, to implement some automation, right? Because they don't have it currently, right? So what to do? They look for the person who's able to build automation from scratch, and they will give you the task. You will complete it, and they say, hey, this is what the person we're looking for, and that's it. Nobody cares what you were doing yesterday. So you lie in your resume, not lie, I would say. You praise yourself in your resume. You still mention your skills that you gained during the course. That you mentioned your automation. You mentioned the everything you did, the frameworks you learned. You mentioned what you exactly did, what kind of like structure your framework has, like page object model, right, and so on and so on. So you mentioned all of that, and you praise yourself like you're like the best professional ever, and you give yourself more experience. That's the only thing that you do. But you don't lie. Like you don't say, hey, I know like C++ if you don't know it. You don't mention that. You don't mention that you know Java if you don't know Java. You just mention your skills, praise yourself, and like expand, like stretch your experience. Like that was not 6 months, that was like 5 years. That's the only thing you do. This is how you do in resume. So actually you don't lie, you like praise yourself and stretch your experience, because you have that knowledge that they need. And during the interview, you just need to prove that knowledge. If they tell you, hey, can you solve this task on CodeWars? You solve the task on CodeWars, and that's the only thing that they need. That's it. So you can be relaxed and don't think, hey, I lied in my resume. Because if you can prove your skills, if they need you to build the framework and you're able to do the framework, that's it. That's the only thing that they need, right? So guys, don't worry about that. You will get the skills you need and you will get a job. And plus, additional to that, believe me, at some point you will be even know better than other people, because we teach you how to do the things properly. But that's not usually not the case when you join a real job. Usually when you join a real job, there are different problems on the project. The processes are not ideal. So you can even suggest the possible improvements. So you come to the job and say, hey, you know, I have an experience doing this, and we can improve this. So they will be like, oh man, he or she just joined and just giving such nice suggestions. Like, so even if you learn properly, if you complete the homeworks, you will even know better than you expect. You will sometimes even know better than people that will be working on your job. So you will even suggesting some improvements. So answering your question, for references, you give either teachers or other students that can confirm your IT experience when you do the background check. Once you got the job offer, you just put their true story and give through people. Like, hey, I worked at this company. You give your supervisor, because once you get get offer, you already, that's it. You already hired, and then you can tell your supervisor that, hey, I'm leaving, and then you can provide that supervisor's email or phone number, and the background check company will confirm then. Because usually for references, usually recruiters or HRs are calling. For the background check, that is like background check company, that they check your position, they check your years when you worked at the company, and so on, like different information. So those are two main differences. Like references are simple, usually asked by recruiters or HRs during the interview process. Background check is what you provide through story, and exact company, exact you say that, hey, I was like installing, I don't know, cell antennas or something like that, whatever you do, right? So there you say the truth, and your goal is just to have everything passed, everything check. And when background check comes to the company, they just see like background check successfully passed. And hiring manager, I'm hiring people, right? I never see the background check result. I just getting informed, hey, background check has passed, we're good to go, like good to start. That person can start on Monday. This is what usually happens. So there is no problem. We know how it works. and we tell you what to do. And your goal is just to do that and complete the homework, and that's it. So you don't have to worry about that. You just need to just relax, come to lessons, ask questions, and complete the homework, because resume, job applications, all of that will be your homework as well. So you will just need to do that as we tell you, and that's it. You will learn all of that step by step. Okay, Sergey, your question.
Yeah. Job searching is a multi-step process itself, besides the classes that you take and learning stuff. When I was asking you if I can apply, start looking for a job and talk to recruiters, I was stressing out in the beginning. But then more and more, when I start talking to recruiters, I did understand that they like the first filter before you get to the company. So basically, they're filtering out non-qualifying applicants for the positions. And last week, I just had experience. I talked to recruiter. He set up the Zoom interview with hiring manager for me. I was stressing out with the recruiter, but then I was even more stressed out with all my notes behind the computer that I was looking at the camera, and the manager was asking me questions about my experience and everything. So Zoom interview went well, and then recruiter called me back, and he said that they want you to see for on-site interview. I said okay, and I was stressed out even more. And then after that, I went and I had with the hiring manager face-to-face interview for about 20 minutes, and then I had an interview with the business analyst from the same company, and for another 15 minutes. And I just kept talking. But most importantly, when you apply for their position, they're looking for, in the beginning, they tell you everything they want from the applicant. Like, this is the company, this is the product, this is what we're looking for. So as you listen to that information, whatever they're looking for, and then you start telling what you have, what kind of experience. So you kind of match your answers to the information they provided to you. So you got to be the best qualified candidate they're looking for. So it's kind of the game. But like I said, so I had like 3 interviews on site, and after that I walked away. I thought I was probably gonna get an offer, but I did not. But for me at that point it was a good experience because I never went through something like that. And I was going there just to feel okay. They're gonna start asking me like technical questions. I'm just gonna look stupid or something like that. So I went through all that stuff, even though I did not have an offer, but I kind of felt confident. So that's what gives me confidence, So that's the faster you start dealing with the recruiters, even if you go through a learning process, you have to learn how to talk to people and how to present yourself. It's all how you sell yourself. Basically, it's like you're selling a car. So this is how you sell yourself to a potential employers. So I'm still learning, but that was crazy experience for me.
Yeah, that's a very good story, and I think you have better confidence right now, right? When you went through all of that, and right now you have a confidence. So that's the main thing. That's the thing that I tell my students. Hey guys, even if you don't consider taking the manual job, and you are going to automation course right away, so still your homework is to go and apply for those jobs and go to the interviews, because you had to gain that confidence, right? Even if they give you an offer and you say, I decline, right? You can always reject that offer, but anyways, you go to the interviews to understand, to get used to the process, to gain that confidence, and it will be super easy for you to find a job later. But I even suggest people, hey, do not hesitate, take that job, come on. If they give you manual job, take it for now, start working, start learning from, maybe you will have some test automation people in your team. So you will start learning some additional stuff from them. You will start learning something from developers, from your team, some other maybe things that you didn't get during the course. So go and take that job. That's IT job. Anyways, that's experience, and continue learning, and then learn automation, and then start looking for automation job. And you will get a confidence. You will get a job at this point. You will be making money, and you will be more relaxed at this point because you will be more confident. You already have a job, so you come to the market like as a
as a god. Hey, I know everything and I can do everything. I have a job already. So you are relaxed. That's why I'm suggesting, hey, take a job and then go and look for automation once you complete the course. And this is how it usually works. Yeah, that's a very good point. And most importantly here, I would say that, for example, you look for a job and everything went well, but then you didn't get an offer. You come to chat because we save all those chat. If you can see my Slack, what I was sharing, I have a lot of groups, right? JS, QA, automation groups, I have all of them, and people remain there. So if they have an interview, they ask questions, they get a job, they start implementing something. They have a question. Hey guys, I'm just creating a test reporter right now. How to do that? Like, right? And they ask questions, and we just reply in the chat. Hey, use this code, use this document to base on, and so on. So those people remain in those chats. So what your goal is as well, just to ask a question in the chat. Hey, I was there. I had an interview. Those were the questions. Those were my answers, and what went wrong because I didn't get the offer. And we can suggest you, hey. And yes, as you said, it's really important to be the best candidate for them. That's very important because interview is not for them. It's also for you, because your goal is to understand what they want, and you could get some information from the job description. Usually they say, hey, we don't have automation. We just need a person who's able to build the test automation from scratch. And your main focus should be being a person who's able to do the automation from scratch and explain them how they work. Maybe there are other candidates who come to the interview and they are able to do the framework from scratch, but they cannot explain them well. So your goal will be like person who's able to build the framework from scratch, and also you can explain them in simple words how it will be structured, and they will say, hey, we like this person because this is the first person who explained the framework structure so we can understand, right? And so on. So you learn from them. You learn what they need, whom they would like to hire, and try to be that person. And of course, we have a separate lessons for that, how to do that. Then we have a lessons just to do the mock interview. So we interview you, see how it goes, and provide you feedback as well. And other people listening as well, like right now, we are in the meeting, but I'm interviewing one person. And we all listen, and then we all together analyze what was wrong and what needs to be improved, and so on. So we do that, so you maybe even feel more confident because you already interviewed by teacher, and then you go to the market and you get you are more relaxed. When I interview people, the first thing I say, hey, let's imagine that we are friends, just sitting in the bar, maybe drinking some shots, and I'm asking, hey, could you tell me about testing? I heard something about testing in a newspaper, and I don't understand anything. So my questions will be not like a manager to you, but like your friend, just curious, what is testing? What is SDLC? What is test case? So explain me that. So what I'm suggesting, do not put like those description, like all of that, those answers on your screen and just read them. Don't do that. Just explain that in your own words, right? And that's it. That's all you need. Be like kind, open, empathetic person, and they will hire you. This is how it works. Of course, that's a long story to tell you, but we will, of course, whoever joins the course will teach you how to do that. But this is how it works in general. You are not only just person answering questions, you are person learning from them what they need and answering questions in the way so they get that answer. So you are the best candidate for them. That's how that magic works, how you answer those questions during the interview, not just like a robot answering the questions in the way that described in the book. You answer the questions in the way that you present yourself as the best candidate for them. This is how it works. Thanks for a good question, Sergey. And Dmitry, I see you have another question.
Yeah, I actually had a lot of questions, but the more you tell us, the more question I have. So I'm just gonna ask the last one. So you're saying the lead position, we can try to apply for the lead position, right? Is there a additional skills that we need to go through in order to apply to the lead position, or it's the same that you give us in this course?
I didn't tell you that you have to apply for lead positions, but I just told you the story that people were applying for lead positions. So actually for the lead position, you need to have a good technical knowledge as well as a professional. Plus, they will be looking for some, management skills from you. And that person was looking for a lead position because he was, as I remember, he was my employer in the past, right? So he had some lead positions because he was managing some people, like team of like 3-5 people. Like, so he had some positions. He was a pretty smart, he is a pretty smart guy till this time. So, and he could just prove that he has those management skills. He can maybe somehow assign tasks depending on the workload and somehow manage the team. So you will have to prove, they will be asking some additional questions, like what you do if you're to motivate the demotivated person. So you have demotivated team member, how will you motivate that person? And you will have to somehow answer that question. Yeah, you can say the candy, right? But they will be deciding, hey, is this a good answer or not, right? So this is how it works. And you need to be honest and you need to be open. If you don't know something, you can simply say, hey, I don't know this. I never worked with this. It's okay. Also, one mistake that people do, they say that they try to answer every question. That's not required during the interview, because sometimes you work with Jira, but the project requires Azure DevOps you never worked with. So if they ask you, hey, have you ever worked with Azure DevOps? You can simply say, no, unfortunately, I used to work with Jira. And vice versa, sometimes you work in Azure DevOps, but they have Jira. So you say, unfortunately, I never worked with Jira. I used to work with Azure DevOps, right? And so on. That's okay. Recently, I was interviewed. There was a company that I wanted to join like last summer, and it didn't work. It was a manager position, and they hired a cool guy. Actually, I talked to him. He has like twice more experience than I do, and they hired him. And then they opened another position, and he's moving to, and they opened like technical position and called me saying, hey, would you like to consider this role? And I said, yeah, I love the company, so why not? Let's try. So I went to the interview, and during the interview, I understood that the position is very specific. They require a lot of working with data, with SQL, writing complex queries. So they don't even need my experience that I have with WebDriver or with Cypress, with whatever I do. They need some specific experience. But they were asking a lot of questions I didn't have an answer for, but I was honest. Hey guys, I work with SQL, but this is what I did. Have you ever worked with Postgres? I said, no, I never worked with Postgres, but as I know, it's not a big deal. It's a pretty simple stuff, right? Oh, we trying to improve GraphQL and so on. So at the end, we just discussed, and I said, hey, I see, and you are honest, and I see that I'm not the best candidate for this position. But guys, if you don't have any better candidate, you can always come to me, because what I can assure you that if you don't have the better candidate and you still need to fill this role, you can come to me and I will fill this role. And whatever needs to be learned, I will learn it. And that's the only thing that they need. And they said, hey, you know what? This is pretty technical position. So they actually offered me, they say, hey, we're going to open the lead role soon. And I'm going to, that person who interviewed me, who took that job from me like last summer, he is going to become a QA director, and there will be opening for QA manager. And they are offering me that role in advance because they already see that I can do that, right? But even if I'm not matching this role, if I'm a good person, because right now it's very hard to find a good person. It's very hard. You are interviewing people, and there are a lot of people just, reading from the paper. You asking them questions, and they just like, this is like this, and they're reading from the wall or from the monitor. I don't know from where. It's so visible. Don't do that. Just be honest. Be open. Just try to make it a friendly conversation, and they will hire you just for that, from the empathy. Because if you're trying to be yourself and telling them, hey, I'm a simple person, and my job is just to do whatever is needed. So if I even start with this today, but tomorrow you will need me to learn something else, I will do that because this is my job and this is what I'm getting paid for. And they will hire you just for that because you are ready for challenges. You are ready just to, learn whatever is needed. That's not a problem. If there is for example, I never did that Slack API, but that's not a problem. You open Google and learn how to implement it. Then you play with it. You run the first script. It doesn't work. There is some error message. You Google for that error message. You fix it. Then you send it, and you send one line of text first, and then you say, okay, got it. It works. But now I have to send more text, like more information. Thinking how to do that, and at the end you implement. It takes maybe a week for you to do that, but this is what you're getting paid for, and this is how it works. So you don't have to be afraid of challenges or afraid of technologies you never worked with. You can simply say, hey, I never worked with it, but if it's needed, this is what I'm getting paid for. I will learn whatever is needed. And if you're open and you're not trying to lie, because the biggest mistake that people are trying to answer the questions they don't have an answer for, that's bad. Never try to answer you don't have an answer for. If they ask you, hey, what is SQL, and you don't have an answer, and you try Googling or something like quickly, or trying to lie or something like that, it works against you. It's better to say, hey, I never worked with it, because it's normal. Even automation engineer may know many frameworks, right? There are many requirements. So you may work with one framework, they have another framework, but your skills are similar, matching. So they may consider you for that role, but you will need to learn that tool. So if they ask you if you ever worked with that tool, but you never worked with it, simply say, no, this is what I worked with. I worked with WebDriver, I worked with Cypress. You have Nightwatch, for example, right? I never worked with it, but as I know, Nightwatch even simpler than those tools I know. So it shouldn't be a problem. So you never lie. You just tell them honestly that you never worked, but you're ready to learn if it's needed, because this is what you're getting paid for. And if you will keep that friendly conversation during the interview, people, they are hiring emotional. At the end, they will hire a person they like the most, not who has the better skills, but whom they like the most. Because again, you will have to work with this person. If I'm hiring a person, this is the person I'm going to work with. Even if there is a very good professional, but I see that person is like not motivated, not smiling during the interview, and maybe sometimes people with a lot of years of experience, they just say, hey, I know everything. I will do whatever I need. You will never tell me what to do. Like, there are different people, but you always hire people you would like to work with. So people buy emotionally as well. So if you will be open, and even if you will not answer some questions, they will still hire you if they like you the most compared to other candidates. This is how it works. It's very simple. You will see that. We will teach you that, and you will see that when you get that experience going to the interviews. You will see that, and you will learn that on your own experience, that people will hire emotionally because they will try to find the person they would like to work with. So you just need to be that person. You have to be smiling, open, relaxed, and having a friendly conversation. This is how it works.
So basically, you can demand anything as far as you can prove it on the interview and have a good character.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
This is how it works. So in resume, why resume is important as well? Because resume is your advertisement, but I said you never lie there. You can extend your experience, you can praise yourself, but you never say that, for example, I don't know, Java if you don't know it, because if people need Java, they will be inviting you to the interviews, but you don't know Java, right? And the first question will be, hey, what is your experience with Java? You say, oh, none. So that's bad. So you never lie in terms of experience, but you, for example, if you got some experience during the course, like you're able to work with documentation, you're able to create test cases, you're able to report bugs, you're able to create framework from scratch, you're able to create page object model, WebDriver, Cypress. You can implement pipelines, continuous integration. You can implement automatic email reporting, Slack reporting, for example, etc. So all of that you can describe, but you can say that you used to do that for 5 years, but you know how to do that because you will have to prove this knowledge. And if they ask you a question, hey, how you do that? You do that, you explain them, or you even prove them, they give you a task and you solve that task. That's all they need. Because what they need actually, you doing this job once you join the company, and that's it. That's all you need. So actually very simple. And we have many students actually who join the company that doesn't have automation and they have to start everything from scratch. This is the best case because you are your own master. You know, you always decide what to do, and nobody tells you because usually they don't know. If you join company with existing framework, you have to learn the framework. There is less responsibility for you because the framework is already created, so you have to contribute, but you just need to learn it, the structure and how it works, and start from simple stuff and so on. But if you start the framework from scratch, you are the master. You decide what to do, so it's up to you. So actually both cases are good, and you shouldn't be afraid of both. You shouldn't be, because sometimes people want to join the company with existing framework because less responsibility, and when they have an offer where they need to start framework from scratch, they're like, oh, I'm going to be the first tester in the company. What should I do? What could I do? I'd say, hey, it's up to you. It's your world. You do whatever you want. Right? It's up to you. So based on your experience, you remember, hey, we worked on documentation first. Then why we did this? To save time and money in the future, to prevent bugs, right? You remember all of that, and you just tell them. And believe me, and most of the companies, nobody understands that. So you even will have to teach them why to do and how to do and what to do, right? So this is how it works. So joining the company with no automation, you are being the first, even better for you because you decide what to do and you suggest them what to do, and they will be treating you as like super professional in the field. Yes, Sergey.
Yeah, I want to add a little bit to. They have a few trick questions during the interviews for automation engineer. They're asking you like scenario. Let's say you become an engineer, you work on a project, and you just sit there and you don't have any automation testing to do. Like, what are you gonna do in this case? And they want you answer. And what are they looking for? The answer. I gave the answer that, like you said, the manual testing is the prerequisite to become automation engineer. So basically, you have to do manual. So my answer was, even if I don't have any test cases to automate, I will work with my QA team members who do manual work, see if I can participate depending on the workflow they have. Because a lot of times they just want to know how will you participate, because this is like a team building job, correct? You're working in a team. So they have all these trick questions. For example, okay, how many tests you will automate? Will you automate everything that we have, or will I automate how many cases will some people say, yeah, I will automate everything that we have on a project, and this is impossible to do because no, you cannot automate everything. I mean, the manual testing always going to be there, because this is like you like an end user, right? You are, as a QA manual, you basically like a client who will test the product. So I would never say that I will automate 100% of testing that we work on the project. So they have a lot of different trick questions for the automation engineer positions.
Yeah. So that's why you have project for, right? Project exists for you to understand how it works and why to do manual testing and why to do automation testing. And yes, so you're correct. So this is actually a very good answer in terms of like why the manual testing still exists, because we are developing all the applications for people. That's why automation is there, but automation has specific purposes. Like when you need to simulate a lot of people and just doing that manually expensive, that's why you have automation. Or you need to repeat some actions many times, which is also doesn't make sense for automation. For manual, it's better to implement it once and then repeat it as many times as you want. So that's again another prerequisite for automation. So automation has specific purposes, and manual is always simpler, cheaper, and better in terms of like end user, because we are developing all the applications. Like Slack is developed for people, not for automation, right? Not for the code. And all the applications you have in your laptop, on your phone, all they develop for people. That's why people are the best testers, of course, for them. How it usually works, you usually do functional testing, what we did during this free course, right? We did manual testing. So you do that like first run when you just get a new functionality that is getting developed. You do that manually, because testing that the button is blue, for example, it's like few seconds for manual testing. For automation, you have to create a script to test that. It's a long time, right? So that's why, of course, manual testing is simpler and cheaper and faster in this case. So that's how it works. But then you have one sprint, you develop this page. Then you have another sprint, you develop something new, but you broke something on this previous page. Nobody's testing this old page manually, because you are testing, you are busy with the new pages, with the new functionalities that you are developing in the next sprint. And then in the third sprint, you develop something new. And in case if you break something in the previous functionalities, usually nobody's catching that. So that's what automation created for. So you try to cover whatever is created by manual testing team, you try to add that to automation. So they worked on a new sprint, testing new functionality that's getting developed. But automation testers are trying to add the previous test cases to their testing, then add those test cases, new test cases to the testing. And every sprint, as an automation engineer, you keep adding new tests, because automation will be running those tests from the past. And that's how automation comes to the picture, and why it's very, very good in this case, because you can test the old test cases. You can add those test cases to automation once, and every cycle run the test to make sure that the previous functionality is still working, even if you're currently implementing something new. So imagine such a big application as Facebook. Facebook has a lot of pages, like 1,000 pages. You can go to different pages. You can go to, I mean, if not even like different user pages, those are like billions, right? I mean, like even as a user on your own profile, you can go to events, you can go to pages, you can go to news feed, you can go to 1,000 pages just in your account on Facebook. So those were developed in sprints. So something first was developed first, and then another functionality was developed in the next sprint, and then next and the next. So to make sure that all those pages developed in the past are not broken, you use automation for that. To add, you just add test cases to it, and it sits there. And you manually test new pages. For example, let's say in Facebook, we have decided to develop a new page, a virtual reality page. When you click for it, it moves you to the virtual reality page when you can use those headsets and interact with Facebook in virtual reality, right? But it's getting developed right now. But how to make sure we are not breaking everything from the past? So every sprint, we were adding the test cases to the test automation. And whenever we develop this page, at the end, we test manually new functionality, but automatically we run the test cases for all the previous pages and make sure that they are still passing. If something failed, that means we broke something. So we go and fix it, then run automation again, and we deliver this feature to the end user, to us. Only when the automation passed, means like everything in the past worked, and the current functionality also worked. Only then we make sure that we have a really good quality. So that's the example why we use automation and why we use manual. And this is how you answer during the interview. And very clear answer will give you higher chances to get a job. Because sometimes, sometimes people don't understand how it works, and they would like to hear that from you. Imagine the case they don't have QA. That was in my case, in my current company. I was a first QA person, and my goal was to establish the process, right? Introduce QA to the company. So what they are looking for, answering the questions, to clear answers, to describe the processes so they can understand as well. So what was my goal is just to say, hey, I will be working on documentation first to prevent the bugs, to save money for the company. And so I was explaining them all the processes. And again, answering the question why they need automation, why they need manual, I was explaining this. Hey, manual is if you do the functional testing for the currently developed functionality. because it's quick and it's cheap. You just check that button is blue in a few seconds. And if you need to add that to regression suite to test later, you introduce automation and you add those test cases to automation, and you go and test another feature. You test another feature, but automation engineers take your test cases from the previous sprint and add to automation. And then you test third sprint, and they keep adding those test cases from the past. And this is how it works. Very simple explanation. If they understand, that's enough for them to hire you, because you were able to understand and show them the future of their company. How are you going to introduce this testing to their company and how it's going to work? And this is how it works. And so sometimes joining the company as a first engineer is even better, because there is no expertise in QA. So you will be just explaining them how QA works. And if you're just able just to explain it in simple words, they will just hire you because you were able to explain them, no matter how many years of experience you have. They just need the explanation, so you know what to do, and you're able to explain them how to help you with that. And that's it. So if you actually just remember, hey, this is what I did during the course, this is what the example of very good processes, that's what I would like to implement there. And that's it. This is only like copying the processes from your test project from the course to the company. That's it. This is actually what I do. I'm just copying all I know into the project I work on. That's it. Nobody requires from me something special. They just rely on me. They just say, hey, what to do in this case? And I'm like, okay, this is what I know based on my experience. Let's implement this. And yeah, so this is how it works. What you need to know, the market is very hot right now. There's less people than jobs. So there's a lot of jobs, and everybody is telling, hey, it's so hard to hire a person right now. It's so hard to find somebody. It's so hard. I don't know. People are like, there are a lot of people. I just say, whenever I never had a problem with QA engineers, because I say, hey, I don't know. I will just share with my group of people I know, and I will get hundreds of applications in one day. So this is what usually happens. So I don't see that problem, but everybody is telling me around, hey, it's so hard to find a person. It's so hard to find a person right now. But yeah, so market is right now overwhelmed. I don't know why, and you can read that on the newspapers. So a lot of people just don't want to work, or what happens during the COVID, I don't know, but this is the reality right now on the US market. There is more jobs than people. So yeah, very good time to look for the job. And especially what is good in QA, because in QA everything is remote right now, and a lot of companies, they just decided to remain remote. So my company is full remote. There is no in office. They just rent an office in office building, and you just simply one room. So you can go there sometimes, they barely 8 people can see. So there is no even office, because we have people from Canada, we have people from New Zealand, from Europe, we have people from Mexico, from United States, from different parts of the United States, right? So fully remote. And for you, this is very good news, because previously, if you didn't know that, you were limited by your local area. For example, you live in some small town and there is one position. Then somebody took it and there's 0 position. And that's it. So in order to get a job, you have to move to another town or something like that. There is no other chance, or just wait for another position to be open. And when people from one town looking for jobs, let's say 10 people are looking for, and there are only 5 positions, it means 5 people won't find a job. Right now, everything is remote. So you look, you apply for thousands of positions on the US market. So right now you are not limited by 5 jobs on your local market. You are unlimited, because there are thousands of positions on the US markets, and it's very good market. Actually, COVID worked very good for us IT guys, because it's right now it's very easy to find a job. Yes, Dmitry.
Yeah, that's me again. So you're saying the market is hot right now, but I wonder, we're not ready now, right? So we're gonna be ready in 6 or 9
Yeah.
minutes. Will it still be hot?
yeah, it's hard for the past 2 years. Since COVID started, since everything went remote, it's very hard because first of all, many people they just like took leaves, you know, and they were sitting on the unemployment. I don't know why people were not working, just getting unemployment money. So that one was one of the reasons. I wouldn't say that's the case for IT. I never heard that that was a problem in IT. So people were leaving IT jobs because they could work remotely. But many people from other fields, they were just leaving the job and sitting on unemployment, just doing nothing, playing video games and getting money. That's why maybe the problem with jobs has appeared in the United States and continues right now. But for IT, COVID changed everything with just working remotely because a lot of people just moved. A lot of my friends from the area moved to my area. I'm currently living in Roseville, California, and they moved to this because this place is getting developed pretty quickly and very good schools, very good. So everything is pretty much new. Everything, the streets, schools, the areas, the houses, the people live here. So everybody likes this area. Even I had people who hated this area before. They just moved a year ago to this area saying that, okay, I was wrong. This is a nice place. So people just moved out from the area, moved to Hawaii. Some people moved to Hawaii. Some people moved to Texas. Some people moved to Florida. It doesn't matter right now. You work remotely from any place you like. You can go to any central state, buy a house for like 200K in some area that has very cheap housing. The only thing that you need the internet, and that's it. And you just apply for 1,000 jobs on the market. So actually, for us, it's very good. Anyway, so it's good for the past 2 years. I've heard that Apple wants to return the employees to the office. I heard today that Google is trying to return. So some big companies are trying, but like middle companies, a lot of companies, they just gone remotely, absolutely remotely till the end of the times. Why? They just didn't see the difference. So they moved to remote work. They didn't see the difference in performance. So that's why they have decided to continue. And my company is fully remote, and I'm glad because, and if you start applying for the jobs, you will see that most of the companies are remote, and you will see that they don't even care where you live and so on. So that's good news. What else? You asked, yeah, you're not ready right now, but it's not 9 months. You will be ready in 3 months for manual, and in 6 months for automation. So actually, it's like that. But even if you, when you will do manual testing, during that time, you already understand how to do how to do the resume, and you will create your resume. It will be manual resume, and you will start going to the interviews. You will understand the process at that point. So when you will be doing automation, it's just like formal process. Hey, update your resume from manual to automation, and start applying for automation jobs. And then we can give you the feedback doing the mock interviews with you in teachers. And also you will be going to the interviews, getting some feedbacks from there, like you got rejected, and you send a message to the chat, hey, this is what the interview, those were the questions, those were my answers, and I got rejected. So what would be your suggestions? And we will discuss together as a group what can be done. And this is how it works. And you just apply for, I'm sorry for interrupting, you just apply for more positions, go to more interviews, and you get a job. So it happens for sure. I found my first job from 11 times. So I failed 10 interviews, and my 11th interview was successful. And actually I got 3 offers. My first job, and it usually happens when you like trained, then the last 3 interviews, you get offers from all of them, and then you decide which work is better for you. So that's what happened to me even the first job. And my first job, one company, one of them wanted me to join them as a lead and manage few people in India. Actually, but it was in different cities, so I got declined that offer. But I took my local position. Give me a second. Yes, and so I got declined that offer with the lead opportunity, but that was my first job, and one of the companies offered me a lead position. So that's nothing special. If you're just open, again, they will be hiring you emotionally. If you're just a nice person and you can, if they will ask you questions, how you will motivate people, and you just like, I don't know, maybe we will be just honest with them, talk with them, try to be friends with them. We'll be inviting them to restaurant, maybe like to the cafe for lunch or something like that, and we'll be talking for some not work related stuff. That those people will start trusting me and will start telling me about the problems, and I can help them. You can answer like that, right? It's again, it comes from you, how you think. And if they like your answer, like they think that it's logical, they think that it could work, they will hire you as a lead as well, even if you are a beginner after the course. They, of course, they don't know that you're after the courses, but they may happen to you as well. It's nothing special. It really depends on the personality. Sometimes people are more technical, sometimes people are like more managers or leads. So it really depends on personality, and they will see that, right, during the interview. They will feel that. It's not something that you can describe, and there are specific rules or questions, but you just ask, as me as an interviewer, I ask questions from the real life, from our company's life. Here we have the problem on our project. How would you solve that? And you just answer the question and say, oh, it makes sense. Oh, good, right? If you answer something like that couldn't work for my company, say, oh, okay, that may probably work in some different company, but for our company, it doesn't work. Like, so I will like just feel if that works or not. But they can simply even hire you as a lead as well. So nothing special.
Cool. Oh, cool.
Okay, Vlad, your question.
Yeah, just a quick question. So you said there's a lot of remote positions, so I kind of get it. So I've heard something like if you work in if you live, your pay may be based on the state you work in, because how even minimum wage is different, like in different states. And speaking like if you get like a full-time position with like benefits, for example, like health insurance, it can be kind of tricky, like for example, I have my current health insurance from my job, but like if I go to a different state, well, I will get help once, but like if I need help on like a regular basis, it's a problem. No, what I'm trying to say, like when you say like everybody works remotely, well, not everybody, but a lot of jobs are remotely. So does it affect, like, let's say if I'm hired by a company from Georgia, for example, if they on average pay less, like the like median income in Georgia, let's say it's lower than in California, are they going to offer like a comparable like salary, whatever income, see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it actually
problem?
doesn't. No, it's not a problem at all. First of all, in terms of benefits, it doesn't matter where the company located. It matters where you located, because how it works, if you're located in California, so they pay taxes in California for you. So it works like that. It's like based on your location, not their location. So even if they are located in Georgia or Virginia, they pay taxes here in California for you. And they give you a plan for medicine or whatever in California as well, that works in California. So this is based on your location. For example, there may be some limitations. For example, my company located in New York, and it doesn't offer like Kaiser, which I had before, right? So there are some limitations. So they offer like Anthem Blue Cross, and I then with Anthem Blue Cross, I select the other. I selected like the other provider that I can go to, and I selected Southern Health as my provider, a new provider, like, but with Anthem, I can go to any of them, right? But with Kaiser, I was limited only for Kaiser, and I liked it actually, but there was no option for Kaiser. So there may be some cases like that. So your new employer doesn't offer you your previous health insurance that you had, and you have to switch to something else. But it will be working in California anyways, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, but speaking,
right?
but speaking of like the salary, so the
salary.
numbers will be this kind of same, right? So it doesn't matter like where you are. I mean, it's gonna be like relatively
right.
competitive high. I mean, you see what I'm saying, kind of.
Yeah, I got it. So right now it like became some median. Right now, previously it was different. So for example, you work in California, then you say to your employer, "Hey, I'm gonna move to Texas," and they actually were doing like salary reconsideration or something like that. It's because you get less taxes or something like that, right? So there were cases like that in the past. Right now, when you look for a job, they just give you whatever they can give you. Like they tell you, "Hey, we have an offer. We give you an offer, and it's 110K per year, W2, and that's it." And you decide either 110K is good for you or 110K is not good for you, right? Another company gives you 130K, and you say, "Okay, I go for that company that has 130K," and so on. So right now there is no like California or non-California job. Right now there is they just give you an offer and specific amount, and you decide whether to take it or not, right? And it's not like it doesn't matter where you are located. They will just give you whatever they can, and you just decide whether to accept the offer or not, and that's it. They maybe there are cases that, for example, if the company from some, I don't know, from some small or less populated state, maybe the company is small and they cannot give you like the salary as at Netflix, maybe, but it's not like, we can give you such amount here, and if you are in Texas, we'll give you a different amount, and if you are in Florida, we'll give you this amount. No, they just give you a single amount, no matter where you're located. They just give you, and you can move to other states, doesn't matter. Your salary will be what they gave you in the offer, and that's it. So you just decide whatever you take it or not. So regular, right? So it doesn't matter. You just applying for many jobs, then see who has better benefits and who gives you better salary, and that's it. Just decide whatever you take. So it works like that. There is no like different states or something like that. Maybe they have some internal stuff like, "Hey, this is in California, so we will have to pay more taxes, so we can give him not 125 but 115K." Like maybe there is the case like that, but they will just give you an offer 115K, and you just decide whether you take it or not. So for you, it's just like that.
Arthur, according to a word, it means that the QA engineer is more profitable living in Florida than California, because there's more taxes.
Yeah, of course. If you, for example, if you take the salary in California, for example, and then move to Florida and to save money, you can do that. Nobody's asking me right now if I'm changing the salary. Of course, I will go and change my address in the system in order to the letters to my W2 to come to the correct address, right? But it will not change my salary. It will not change anything. I will just log in later or earlier to the system, and will start working earlier. But nobody's like limiting me from moving or something like that. So it doesn't matter. It's like you get an offer, and you can leave whatever you want. There is even other states besides Florida that can give you even more opportunities, and you can buy a house for 2K, for 200K, right, and so on. So there are a lot of other places. It's up to you. Maybe you don't like that state because there are no friends, or if you move, for example, from in some central states, they are absolutely different from the coast states, right?
Yeah.
In terms of like people, in terms of like development, infrastructure, etc. So it's up to you. But if you don't care, you would like to live in the mountains, and just the only thing that you need the internet, and you can buy a mansion or a castle for like
That's why
several 100K. And
that's why I moved to Nashville, Tennessee from California.
Yeah, I remember you used to live here.
Yeah, I paid in tax like $5,000 for the last year working in California. Tennessee doesn't have income tax, so you would pocket that 5,000 if you were living here. So a lot of people moving. Depends where you want to go.
Yeah, so this is how it works. So it's up, yeah, it's absolutely up to you. Yeah, any other questions? I think we discussed a lot, but maybe there are any other questions.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do the tester have fixed work hours usually, or have to work overtime, for example, from home? And the second question is, how often do testers or developers? And a second question, how often do you have, for example, do we need to do new things? We need to learn new things, for example, once a week or every day it happens. Why am I asking? Because, for example, I have a kids and I need to work fixed hours, and if usually I need to do overtime, for example, I think, can I work or not?
Actually,
Yeah.
it actually depends. It's not like something that happens everywhere. So usually, yes, it's fixed amount of hours. With remote work, especially if your company has a lot of people across the United States or even across the world, it will be very flexible for you. Because I know some people here in California starting like at 5 o'clock a.m. to work with people from New York in the same time zone and end the job at 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock, right? So they would like to do that. So it's absolutely up to you at some companies. At some companies, yes. For example, you work for Google and everybody's located here. And they would like you to work with from 9, for example, to 6, right? And you will be working from 9 to 6. So it really depends on the company. Usually it's fixed. Usually, probably, if company is located in one time zone. If company located in different time zones, like a lot of remote workers from East Coast, from Europe, as I mentioned, we have even people from New Zealand, from Canada, from Mexico. So there are people in different time zones. So actually, you can join later. And usually, if you get your job done, nobody cares. Even if you say, hey, I'm feeling bad and I will join later, like I will work afternoon, I need to get rest, nobody cares. They, hey, get well and yeah, and relax and maybe sleep something, get some nap or something like that. So in IT, it's pretty free job, like pretty flexible. For example, the last 2 days I was not feeling well, and I just asked my manager, hey, is there a formal process to take a sick leave? And he told me, no, you can just leave a message in the chat. Hey, I don't feel bad. I don't feel good. And just, I need to get some rest. So I just took 1 day off. Then yesterday I woke up like not feeling pretty good. And I will take another day off, like, and just slept well, just relaxed, spend time with my family, and join today. So some companies very flexible. Sometimes I'm like busy in the morning saying, hey, I need to do something in the morning. So I just work in the afternoon and spend more time in the evening. So it really depends. There are some companies that the work is strictly, but I would say that right now, probably in most of the companies, it's very flexible. Another level, I can even tell you that people right now working at 2 or 3 jobs in parallel, working 2 or 3 hours per job per day. This is how people work, and getting like 100K from one job, 100K from another job, 100K from third job, getting 300K per year, not bad. Yeah, and how it works, if you're able to do the job in 3 hours, and usually that's doable, I would tell you, because usually people, for example, I have like 4 monitors. I have 1 laptop and monitor. I have another laptop and monitor. One of them work laptop and monitor, another my personal. And you make a coffee in the morning, you sit, open your laptop, you start reading email, then you maybe turn your another laptop and start watching some YouTube videos or just listening to it, right? And doing some job. And then just something interesting, heard something interesting. You continue watching, and you spent 20 minutes not doing anything. Then you get back to work. Then you went to the kitchen, I don't know, maybe to make a sandwich or something like that. They came back, right? And then somebody called you to talk to somebody. Then you went to the restroom. Then you did something else. So actually, you are not working 8 hours. You never work 8 hours. Even when we working at the office, we were counting that active hours, like probably work like 6 active hours, actively working. The 2 hours, the other 2 hours we spent talking to people in the kitchen area, making coffee. Some people go and smoke. Then you go to lunch. Then you go to some other people's desk and just talk to them. And you never work 8 hours, even in the office. So even in the office, it was 6 hours. Right now, I would say people are probably working 4 hours a day actively. And other stuff, you go there, you have an appointment, I don't know, you went somewhere, you go to the grocery store because you won't have time in the evening, and so on. So actually, it's pretty flexible, and you just need to do your job. And sometimes there is work to do, but you have some plans in this morning. So you can spend this time this morning saying even to your group, hey, I have some appointment, or I need to do something, and you spend this morning for whatever you need, and then you just work later today just to finish that job that you have. And if you finish your job today, and actively it will be 4 hours, nobody will tell you anything because you finished the job, you finished the task. And that's why people then, hey, I'm working like 4 hours. Why do I do that? Maybe instead of like watching YouTube, I will maybe get another job. And people get second job without leaving the previous one. Nobody tracks that, nobody checks that. And they get 2 W-2s, which is okay, because you can get 2 W-2s, because what I have, for example, I had my job, then I left it and joined this one. So I get 2 W-2s, but I have TechStart. I'm getting the salary from TechStart as well, right? So I can have many jobs. Nobody tracks that. So that's why some people have 5 jobs. And there was one article on Reddit recently. One guy, a developer, he works at 5 jobs. And he mentioned if he successfully stays there for a year, he would get like $1.2 million salary. 1.2 million. And even considering this, he says that he plays like 4 hours a day of video games. So he spends 4 other hours. Maybe he works longer, like he doesn't work like 8 hours. Maybe he plays 4 hours video games and then not 4 more hours and then relaxes. Maybe he works more, like 8 more hours for those 5 jobs. But he works at 5 jobs and even playing video games for 5 or 4 hours per day, and still nobody fires him. So of course you have to manage the meetings, but if you are a regular engineer, that's doable. So that's another level. So when you're thinking about your first job, other people are thinking about second or third job. So this is how it works right now with remote work. But it will be another level discussion. Once you get the first one, then we will talk about the second and third one.
Yeah, because it will be my first job, for example. I hope it will be soon. Yeah,
so that's why you need to understand other people get 3 jobs, and why you should be worrying about the first one. So don't worry about that. It will be, believe me, comparing to other jobs, IT is very simple, because you don't work with people, you don't work like in hospital, and you have a responsibility to like save people's life, right? Here you work with the code. Even if something bad happens, let's say you work at Facebook and you did something that the whole platform become unavailable, no problem, you will fix it in an hour. Facebook will display we are currently unavailable, and that's it. In an hour it will be fixed. And yeah, this is the worst thing that can happen. So you don't work with people, and you don't have such big responsibility. And again, even if something bad happens, it's not your responsibility, it's a shared responsibility, because everything we do, it's a shared responsibility among developers, testers, business analysts, project managers, and so on. So you just worked with a program on computer. You can listen to the music, you can watch videos in parallel, you can work at 2 works and 3 works in parallel. So it's very easy job. And your goal is just to get the knowledge to be able to do the job and to get that job, to pass the interview, and that's it. That's it. And it will be even developing more and more, because you can even just think about it, right? Imagine your life 10 years ago and now. Everything is digital right now, and it will be becoming more and more digital. Everything we see around us will become more and more digital, right? We just change everything. And so in order to do that, we need more developers and we need more testers to do that. Because every application on your phone, even a simple game, it was developed by something and tested by somebody, right? So behind those applications, there are people developing those applications, testing them. So, and there are like millions of applications, millions of games, and etc. And those are developed by people, and somebody does that. Companies, small startups, developers behind that, and testers behind that. So for you, it's very simple job, because you will have a lot of jobs in the future, more and more. So we need more and more people getting trained and get the profession and find a job. Look, a lot of schools are there. A lot of schools out there. A lot of like more and more people, we train them day to day, like month to month. A lot of schools out there, and a lot of people graduate those courses, and we still have more jobs on the market than people. So what happens? Because there are a lot of jobs, there are a lot of companies, a lot of applications getting developed, a lot of startups developing something new, some new technologies that has to be tested and developed. So that's why a lot of people getting trained, but more and more jobs appear and appear, because new technologies are getting developed, and all of them need testers and developers. So that's why. Very good step right now. Okay, we are almost 2 hours done. How do you feel? Are you feel confident right now?
Motivated.
Yep.
Super nice.
Yeah, nice.
Good.
Yeah, so that's the only, motivation matters as well. So you need to be motivated by other people. So for example, when I was looking for my first job, the only thing that I knew, that one of my friends took the courses and found the job in my city. At that time I lived in city of Vinnytsia in Ukraine, and I didn't even know that there are IT companies in my city. I thought that there are like 0 companies, and I will have to move to Kiev, or I'll have to move to other cities. But actually, there were like there were like 20 companies. And later, when I joined the company, I started playing soccer in IT league, and we had even IT league, just the league that people from IT companies were playing only there, and it was like very developed. It was even one of the best leagues in the city, like in terms of soccer and the quality of soccer and the quality of league and everything else. So as I understood, there were like a lot of companies I never knew before. But for me, it was probably the main motivator was like, I knew the fact that my friend took the courses and found the job. And I knew what to do. Hey, took the course and go to the market and go to the interviews. And that's it. That's it. That was the main motivator for me. So sometimes there are a lot of people. We try to announce every person who found the job in the announcements chat. So that should be a motivator for you as well. Other people, just regular people like you, just find the job. So for you, there is no excuse. If another person, and you need to understand one fact, every next course is better than the previous one, because we always add something new. So if you take this course, it will be better than the previous one. So people who found the job with the previous course means less knowledge than you will have found the job. So for you, there's no excuse. No excuse, because every next course is better than the previous one. We always add something new and improve the previous course. So if somebody finds a job, that means you have no excuse. You have to find a job, because other people with less knowledge than you do that. So how could you not do that, right? So this is how it works, and you will see that the people from your course start finding a job, and you're okay. Then why I'm still not doing that? Why I'm sitting? Why I'm waiting for, and so on? Because some people apply for 500 positions, some people apply for 2 positions per week. So there are some differences, but we will give you a feedback and we'll be pushing you. Okay, any other questions? Yeah, gonna get a few more monitors. Yeah, guys, what you will understand, more monitors are as many monitors as you have is better, because monitors means a lot. You can put 3 monitors and have a lot of different windows and can compare different stuff, right? What I was doing, like opening one document on one side, another document on another side, and then you can compare. So having like 2 monitors, actually probably the best case for me was, usually company gives you a laptop. The laptop has a pretty small screen. Sometimes company provides a monitor as well, but for me, having a laptop and 2 monitors is the best. Like you have 2 big monitors and the laptop. Laptop you can always remove and go and sit somewhere, or even again in IT you can travel anywhere. You can take your laptop, go to any place and just log in from the hotel room, just work for some time, and yeah, just with your small monitor. But again, you will be able to work anyways, and work from any place that you work. You can go with your family for a week, just having vacation for a week, but you will have to work during work hours. But anyways, you are in that place, you still have time to relax after work, or even during work, if you would like to work later tonight and just spend the day with the family. So it's up to you, but you can simply, you're flexible, you can go anywhere. I was going many times to the ocean, for example, to Monterey or to Carmel by the sea, just taking my laptop during the work week ahead of time, just set it in the hotel room, just worked for a bit, then went to the ocean, relaxed a bit, then went to the room again, worked a bit more, and so on. So you're flexible. IT gives you that flexibility. And if you will be just able to complete your task, nobody will tell you anything, because the main thing is to participate in some meetings that you have to participate in and complete your tasks. And that's it. Nobody will be watching you like, hey, are you doing your job or not? Yeah. And monitors, yeah. At home setup, monitors are the best. So just you have to buy the monitor.
Artur, I have a question about the cost for courses. I mean, monthly payments. I heard that some courses, some program, some guys created the program for QA engineers, and they charge it the payment after student get the job.
Yeah.
If you so confident that your graduate student get the job some few months after courses, why you charge it some 600 per month if you can make more money, if you're gonna get some commission for his future salary? I mean,
Yeah, that's a good question. The first answer, because we don't like that. First of all, it requires a lot of like legal stuff, right? You have to do a legal stuff, sign the documents, and then you have to try to get those money from people. And there is one problem, especially in California. In California, if the amount of money you're trying to sue person for is less than 10K, it doesn't matter to go to the court at all, because the money you spend for the lawyers will be more than you will get from that person. So if you have that knowledge, you can even ignore that company that tries to remove the money, because it's for them, it will be more expensive to go to the court than to get money from you. So that's another problem. And that's what you will understand when you especially get a business and somebody tries to sue you. And if the amount is less than 10K, it's better just to sometimes just to pay money, just to resolve that. or even not to, if you're trying to sue somebody, not to get even forget about this money, because you will spend more for the lawyers than you will get money from the people. So that's another concern. And third concern, we don't like that because the amount is such big. Like you pay 15% of your salary for 2 years. So let's say you get 100K and you pay 30K. I don't like that. I wouldn't love people to do that. And another thing, that people are not motivated sometimes. They like, okay, if I don't find a job, I don't have to pay, right? That's what people think. I don't have to pay. So sometimes people just give up and they demotivate others. So what happens, they demotivate us, because if I come to a lesson and say, hey guys, have you completed the homework? And they say, oh, like 2 people completed and like 18 people didn't complete. And it demotivates me, it demotivates other people, those 2 who still completed. What happens next? Those people, since they didn't complete the homework, they probably didn't understand the previous topic well, they start asking questions, ridiculous questions that they had to actually learn from the previous lesson. So what happens? Instead of 2 hours, we spent 4 hours for the lesson. And it's getting worse and worse and worse every lesson. And what happens next? People didn't find job. Some people didn't find job. We didn't charge any money from them. But what happens? They start selling, oh, I learned that in that school, but I didn't get any position, so that's a fake, and blah, blah, blah. I didn't need that. So what we did instead, we said, okay, guys, we don't need the legal stuff. We don't need anything. Here's the deal. First of all, we give you the free course. You try. If you don't like, you just don't come to the course. We don't need to charge you, 0. Like you go to other school if you love other school better, or you just, maybe you don't like profession. You tried being a manual tester for those 3 weeks and you didn't like it. You tried coding, automation, you didn't like it. It's not something you would like to do. You just leave, you don't come to the courses, you don't pay. Because some schools charging like 6K in advance, not after the course, but in advance. Like you pay 6K, for example, or 5K, and you take the course. And then if you didn't find a job, you still lose the money. And if you understand that you don't like the course in a month, you don't get money back. You still wasted your money. So we have decided to do like that, to do a monthly payment. First of all, you come to the free course. Then let's say you say, okay, I give myself chance to try, and you try for 1 month, and then you decide to leave. So you just paid for 1 month. Another case, when we see that you still want to continue, but you don't complete the homeworks, and you demotivate other people. So we then remove you from the course, and you don't have to pay for the other 2 months, for example, right? So that gives us this flexibility as well to remove demotivated people as well. So for us, it's the win-win deal, and it's very flexible because people may pay for the month, may leave after the month, and we even created those free courses just for people to come and try and don't come and don't pay even for the first month if they don't like the course. So that's why we have decided, because we like this approach more than the other approach. And we think that this is win-win deal for us. We are okay with this payment system, and we don't need to charge a lot because we were not creating this as a business. The initial idea of these courses was to build a community and then to start a new project, some new project using like some the best students that will graduate and create maybe some startup using the community that we have. So that was the initial idea, not to like make a business of this course, but make like a community creator that will give us some resources in the future to do something else, right? So that was the idea.
Do you want to create the QA union?
Yeah, we already have a QA union. Yeah, but I mean, like mostly we are not like only doing QA, but front end as well, right? And even students, we have a platform that we register students for. It's like getting developed, so it's like in initial state. It's not developed well yet, but students on the front end course developing that platform. So we get the experience and we get the platform developed, and they get experience because they on the real project and developing the real application. So it's like a win-win case. And plus, if we see that, okay, this person is very good, like talented, right? So we can say in the future, hey, let's join us in this new startup. We're going to build this application that will change the world, right? So that was the initial idea, to build the community and then to use that community to work on something else in the future. So that was the initial idea. And and community already working for us, because some people are working as leads in some companies, and whenever they have a position, they say, hey, send me some students, right? And we send some students, and they getting hired, and they become leads. Those people become managers, and this is how it works, right? Some people leave, go to another company, and asking for other students as a replacement for them, and so on. And this is how it works, because community works. Community works. You just send a resume, and there are people working at that company that graduated from the same course as you, and they see that in resume as well. And some often they are asking for students to come to the interview. So this is how it works. So it's working already, but this is not what we are looking for. We are looking for like talented people that we can create something with in the future. Okay, who's going to be our teacher in the main course? On manual testing, I was previously doing the automation testing, but I'm probably considering doing manual testing course this time. So probably for manual testing will be I, and for coding basics will be Stan, but he's the main teacher for the coding basics. For automation, Alex probably. And for front end, Sergey. Sergey's main course is front end. Okay.
Artur, according to your experience, I want to ask you, for example, just imagine situation.
Mm-hmm.
For example, on your table, you have an offer from 3 courses. I mean, computer science or wherever. Yeah. How are you going to be making your choice? The bad or good school? I mean, courses. What is the characteristic or parameters? I mean,
there is no question like that. I was even hiring people from other schools, so I was opening position, and for example, we were in the middle of the course. So actually, the people I had to apply for this position were from previous course, and there were other people applying from other schools, and I hired a person from other school because I liked the person best. And so it's not about school. You never look in the school. I sometimes, people are applying for a position, and I see 80 people applying with the same resumes, like 80 people, but I don't care about that. I don't care about resume. My approach is very simple. I send everybody, hey, this is a task I want you to do. If this is automation, I usually ask, hey, create automation framework, cover this page, like our login page or our landing page, cover this page, and then publish it on GitHub or in Azure, whatever you want, and then send me an instruction how to run it, right? Usually it's clone it, then run the command to install the modules, and then run it. And then I get a report. That's it that I need. And people who actually worked even on the free course, even if you take the free course, you can do that. You can actually create the framework from scratch using that guide, then cover that page using those commands like click, set value, blah, blah, blah. You cover that page, and then you send me instruction how to do that. That's it. That's what I need. And out of those hundreds resume, I get like maybe 10 or 15 tasks done. That's it. That's all I need. And I will interview only, then I overview the task and I see, okay, those are not completed, only 10 tasks are completed. So I will interview 10 people. And for me, it doesn't matter where they are. And which school they graduated. I just need job to be done, as always, as other people as well and other hiring manager. You just need to fill the gap. You have the gap. You have the project. You have the role that you need to fill in. If there is a specific role, that person should be able to create a framework from scratch. Well, that role is just for API testing only, because it's like backend team. They're just doing money transaction, and that person should be able to do API testing. So I will be looking person who's able to do API testing. And my task will be, hey, this is the API endpoint, go and test it. Write me a test for API testing. That person, so there will be like 5 people or 10 people who will complete that, and I will interview them. And then out of them, I will just decide who I like more in terms of like personality, some soft skills, and which person probably will, whoever I will work better with, like maybe the kindest person and person who is able to work independently, or who is more motivated, and so on. So those decisions will be made again emotionally, right? Because all of them are able to complete that job. And even I was reviewing resumes, for me, it didn't matter which school. I gave them the task, they complete the task, and then I interview them, and whoever will be the best candidate for me emotionally, because sometimes there are people like you don't work with. You interview them, they're technically strong, but you don't want to work with them because there is no, like, I don't know, there's no empathy. There's something missing there. And you just talk to another person that is kind person, open person, very friendly conversation. We are smiling a lot, joking a lot. Wow, I would like to hire this person. This is how it happens. So it really doesn't matter. It matters what kind of person you are and what you can give them, because you always fill the gaps. And it's not about schools. Sometimes it's about students. There can be a bad school, but very, very good student. The student who just empathetic. And sometimes people are even lacking some skills, but you still hire them because the personality matters. So that's how it works. And there is no, for me, maybe there are some managers, maybe there are people that school matter for them. And in my career, where I had boss who told me, hey, why you are not putting like education requirements? Don't you want to hire like masters in computer science? I'm just saying, no. What if like I have genius without even college degree who comes directly from the school? Should I like just ignore it or hire that person? So the answer is simple. Right now in IT, there is like a shift. So no matter who you are, if you're able to prove that you can do the job, nobody cares about your experience, nobody cares about your education. If you're able to do the job the best, you're getting hired. And even Elon Musk recently said that if you just consider education, so Nikola Tesla would never work at Tesla, even despite the fact that he's genius, because he didn't have the required education level and so on. So you never look at education level, you never look at the experience and so on. You just interview people, give them tasks and other ways to measure the productivity or what they can do. If they are able to do the job the best, better than others, you hire that person, no matter what. And that's it. Because if you meet genius, you don't have to like reject that genius just based on the education level or the school they took, or I don't know, or the age or experience or something else. If there is a genius, you just hire that person. That's it. Because you need job to be done, and that's it. How many lessons per week will we have, and will be the same evening hours? Yes, the hours are the same. It's usually 7 to 8 p.m. California, 10 to 12 in Eastern time, whatever. On the first level, if you consider automation, test automations, probably you will be taking JavaScript basics as well. It will be 4 lessons per week. It will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Usually we try to give less homework first 2 days, like from Monday to Wednesday, you get less homework, and from Wednesday to the next Monday, you get more work, and from Thursday to next Tuesday, you get more homework. I mean, yes, 4 lessons a week. It's evening hours, and it will be 3 months. So you can imagine how much knowledge you will get.
Excuse me, we will have every day homework, yeah? After every lesson?
You'll have 4 lessons per week. 4 lessons per week, and you will have homeworks, but the homeworks will be simple. From Monday, for example, you get, usually we do like that. So you get manual K, let's say on Monday and Wednesday, and then you get coding basics on Tuesday and Thursday, right? So you get 1 day break between them, and you get less homework from Monday to Wednesday and from Tuesday to Thursday, because we know that you have manual K in parallel or coding basics in parallel, right? But then you have Friday, you have Saturday and Sunday free. It's free. So you get more homework from Wednesday to next Monday and from Thursday to next Tuesday. Got it?
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome. Okay, 9:15. In case, yes, all the lessons are recorded. All the lessons are recorded. But I highly recommend to come to lessons. If you can come to lesson, just go and do that. Do not look for excuses, especially people saying, "Oh, I have plans. I would like to, I don't know, I was busy. I went somewhere, I don't know, to the party or something like that." If you can attend the lesson, just forget about some activities for just 3 months, or if you consider like automation 6 months, and you will get all of that afterwards. You will get a salary, you will get better job, maybe you will get 2 jobs in parallel, and you will get several hundred Ks salary a year. So just forget about some activities for a few next months. Just focus on studying, and you will get the benefits afterwards. Because what kind of mistakes people sometimes do, they just try to keep some activities. Some people even look excuses. Hey, you know, I went to the birthday, or I went to the party or something like that. I'm like, okay, how can you even like compare like your future with just party? You will have a lot of parties in the future, but only one chance to change your life. So just you have to prioritize this chance, because this is a single chance and many parties, right? So if you have many of something, it's less important than something single. So you have to prioritize your single chance, and only then parties or birthdays and so on. So that's how most successful students do. They like prioritize, they say, hey, I'm busy, I have to like study, I have to do the homework and so on. And you will get what you need, and then you will just sit, relax, work at several works, buy a Tesla, buy a house, and this is how it will work. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh no, not like that. Yes.
It's to record the E. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
We cannot go without recording a story for Instagram. Can you tell somebody something? Hey, we finally finished the course.
I'm not able to see your screen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you
Arthur.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did you understand something?
Yeah.
Hey guys, bye-bye. Thank
Bye.
you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Let's keep in touch in the chat.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks so much, everyone, for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Appreciate
guys.
it.
Thank you.
Bye.